Hello, what's up guys? So today I'm on the bike, hitting a little bit of a longer bike ride with a little workout. And I'm gonna do a little bit of the same. We're gonna hit a big climb, about 3,000 feet, elevation gain. And I'm gonna record it. And we're gonna, continue to build the base. I'm sure a lot of you, maybe, if you're into endurance stuff, you're building right now. It's kind of like that preseason moment, and that's me right now. Just kind of, getting out there, putting in some good volume, with a little bit of intensity here and there. But it's the holidays. Just want to get out there and enjoy yourself. It's a beautiful day here. And I'm just gonna, enjoy myself on this Friday morning. So I've been trying to do at least 3 bike rides a week, 3 runs a week, and trying to swim at least 4 to 5 times a week. And if I can get that, I'm golden. But some days, some weeks, it's harder than others. But warming up still as I make my way to the climb. Okay, it's basically starting the climb now. I'm gonna hook you up to the front of my bike. It's gonna be about a 7-mile climb. I'm just gonna hit a nice good tempo on it. And yeah, just work it. That's pretty much it. So let's get it going. Okay, so as I get into my ride here, I thought that this would be a good video to just talk about what's been my approach. What's been my approach this year, or what do I have planned for this year? What are some goals, or how am I approaching training this year as opposed to the years before this? So, hey, the year's 2024. I'm currently 23 years old, and I've been training for triathlons, let's just say, since maybe like late 2020 is when I kind of started to begin swimming a little bit. But I didn't do my first triathlon until May of 2022. So there was quite a long time between when I started to train and then when I actually did my first triathlon. And this was for a number of reasons, but it doesn't really matter right now. So some of my goals for 2020, and usually when they say like, hey, set some goals, you gotta have something to look forward to. Goals sometimes can be, like not specific enough. Goals can be very elusive sometimes, and you don't really know, how to go about, getting there. So you gotta like really, you gotta set yourself up for success. Now this is all great and everything. We all love goals. Goals are great. But there's a difference between dreaming and then like wishes and hopes and actual goals. Because goals is something that you intend to achieve at some point, right? Goals is something that you are intending to achieve. You're intending to get this goal, I think. I don't know. That's what I think. Some of my attainable goals, this year, I want to get almost down to I want to achieve a 2-hour Olympic triathlon time. And that's going to vary on course, what course you're on, hard course or an easy course, but I want my time to get down to 2 hours. Now, what is that going to take? That is going to take a faster bike and a faster swim. And mainly a lot of time, obviously, you're going to pick up is going to be on the bike. So I'm going to be focusing a lot on hitting consistent bike-specific workouts, doing some racing, and doing real specific like triathlon, TT work, and trying to, do the best I can on making sure my bike fit is good, because that's something that, when you're coming at a sport as like an amateur and hoping to get better, is you're kind of real scrappy about it. And that's kind of what I really like about this kind of early phase, is like I'm just kind of not just doing whatever because I'm not doing whatever. I'm trying to be intentional, but you're kind of just like here and there, you're just making things work. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make things work. And so I'm trying to test things the best I can. I'm trying to use whatever information I can find on the internet, whatever. We're just making things work, and we're just trying to get mainly the large gains out of the way. I'm not too concerned about the minor gains. I'm concerned about the large gains, because I have only large gains, right? Working on the bike fit, of course, getting more fit, just getting in more time, more workouts, and the swim, of course. I intend to, get some third-party advice on my swimming. It's definitely still improving, but there's a lot, obviously, that can still be improved. And so there's that. And I think one of my other goals is just to do more triathlons this year. I want to race, hopefully I want to race 5 times. I just made that number up, but it seems like a good number. I want to race at least 5 times this year. If it's less, it's less, but I want to do at least 5 times, mainly just because I enjoy it, and so that I can get more experience and get better. So that seems like it can be a pretty easy one to go ahead and get out of the way. So those are some goals, whatever, that I can just think of right now. Now I'll tell you kind of my approach and what has kind of been working for me so far in terms of training. So I'm completely self-coached, self-trained, and so what my approach is going to be this year, and how it's been pretty similar to years past, is I usually end my season off sometime late fall, or sometime in the fall, and I take some time off, and usually it's about like maybe a month easy. I take maybe 2 weeks off completely, and then I start really getting into like lifting weights again is kind of where I start back, and just doing things for fun, hiking, stuff like that. And the reason why I love lifting weights, and I always try to keep my strength where it is. I try to maintain the best that I can, and I try to gain a little bit of weight in the off season. I try to gain a little bit, some muscle in the off season, in anticipation that I'm going to probably be losing muscle as the season goes on, as I do less weight training. And so I try to put a big emphasis on that. It didn't quite go as well as I had hoped this season, but I still got in a good base, a good solid base, and got in quite a bit of weight training. Now, I don't know if this will work for everybody, but I know that I've been injury-free for the past 3 years now, and I haven't really had much problems with with injuries. I've been weightlifting 2 to 3 times a week, focusing on strength, and then as the season progresses, doing some more power movements, and always focusing on more specific, like sport-specific type of movements and exercises, which will help hopefully reduce my chances of an overuse injury. And so far I've had pretty good success with this, and this is information that I've gained from school, but also from other people, other YouTube videos, other people who are quote-unquote experts, whatever you want to call them, and it seems to have worked for me so far, knock on wood. I think weightlifting is a really interesting and underutilized aspect of endurance training, which hopefully, if anybody's interested in what my routine is, maybe I can make a video at some point kind of telling you guys how much I lift and what I try to focus on, because I really enjoy it, and I think that there's a lot to be gained for most athletes and for most people in general. Okay, and so after I do that kind of break and I do the off-season lifting a little bit, and I start to slowly build into my volume, and I slowly start to build into my intensity, and so the first maybe about month and a half, 2 months, is I just do mainly base volume stuff, maybe some strides here and there, maybe some pickups. Swimming doesn't really follow this too much. See, I'm swimming, I'm the least experienced in, and I know the least about. So don't take what I say about swimming too seriously or to heart, because I don't really know what I'm doing. But anyways, the intensity in the pool is always going to remain pretty constant, just because it's not really too hard on the body, and so but I'll still ramp up intensity in the pool as well, and mileage in fact in the pool as well as the season progresses. And so I'll do about a month to 2 months base, really like endurance, and mainly what this is just to slowly get back into shape a little bit, and so that I don't get injured. You don't want to get right back into to workouts, because that would be quite detrimental, especially after a month and 2 weeks completely off, and a month of not really training that much. And so it's really just like trying to get my feet back under me and getting the heart rate, exercising the heart, and you know what I mean. And then I'll slowly start to introduce some intensity. And this is kind of where I'm at right now. Is I'll start with longer, like I call it sub-threshold work, and this is usually it's not easy, but it's like a solid pace, something that I feel like is not pushing it too hard, but is definitely getting the heart rate up, and it's definitely it's definitely intense. And when I go off of heart rate, I know what my threshold is, and so usually I'll probably aim around about 10 beats lower than what my threshold is usually what I call my sub-threshold. And sub-threshold is a very broad term, so take that as you will. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, and slowly getting into some more threshold work, especially on the run. I've progressed a lot more into threshold work. I mainly only do threshold work on the run, and I probably on the run won't be doing much harder than threshold work until later in the season, until I do maybe a cycle of some harder stuff and then take it a little easy, just because I found after my years of running training that if you do too much intensity too soon, you won't be lasting super long throughout the rest of the season. You'll just get, I tend to get really burnt out. So I'm gonna play around with some cycling of that higher intensity run training, but so far the threshold late into the season has been working well for me, and usually I'll do like longer reps. I'll work on longer reps, and slowly as I get into more intense stuff, I'll cut down. I'll cut down to shorter distances for my reps, and usually a little bit more rest, but obviously more intensity. So yeah, that's that. And with the bike, I'm still trying to figure that out as well. But I'm on some sub-threshold stuff right now, and I'll slowly build into some more threshold stuff. My thought process, I just thought of this recently, and this is something interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, and that's usually how a lot of this stuff goes, is that when you're on the bike in a triathlon, you're usually not going much above threshold heart rate. And that is from my experience of from racing, the few times I've raced, and the perception of how I feel is you get out of the water and you're running and you have you're trying to take your wetsuit off, whatever, you're trying to transition, and that's usually where my heart rate spikes the highest, is at that moment. And then after that, you get on the bike, you're like breathing really hard. You definitely, like, for me, probably like 180 beats per minute, and I'm just trying to get at all my stuff. I'm trying to get my shoes on. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get up to speed, and I'm trying to catch my breath. And then maybe, after like 5 or 10 miles into the bike, you catch your breath a little bit, and it stops, for me, becoming a lot less about the heart rate, like the aerobic or your cardio, and it usually turns much more into a muscular fatigue. You start getting sore places, you start getting uncomfortable, and so that's where I think it's like not super important to do much higher intensity stuff than threshold, perhaps. But I'm sure I'll probably dip into obviously some higher stuff as I get, especially into racing, bike racing season. Definitely will be more important there for like sprinting and whatnot. But yeah, so I think that's probably fine. I don't know, I guess I'll report back to you on that one if I ever do. And then, yeah, so I think what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up racing sometime in March, and then I'll probably race again sometime in May, and then I'll race maybe sometime in September, or maybe another time in the summer before then, in like August or something. And then I'll maybe do one more, something fun, maybe kind of in the fall, October or something. And honestly, I just came up with that right now, but that seems like a good plan to me. And mainly, what I want to focus on is not burning out, of course, and hitting some solid cycles. So you might hear like mesocycles, which I think is a funny term because it's just a monthly cycle. So it's really important to cycle your training, and so that's what I'm planning on doing. So I don't do a good job. I actually don't write my training down. It's pretty intuitive, and I usually plan it the week before. And you know, we're busy people, especially if you're as an amateur athlete, recreational athlete. You're pretty busy, and so you do what you can when you can, and then if it's body's not feeling it, great. I tend to opt for the not go for it rather than the go for it. And so if a workout is looking like it's going to happen, then it's going to happen. If it's looking like it's not going to be a great day for it, I'm too busy, then I'll opt in for something else. And so that's been working for me so far, so I'm going to continue to do that. And you might say, well, I can get faster, I can get better results if I really focused on it, and I'll tell you, like, yeah, you're probably right, but I still want to enjoy myself in the meantime. And so that's a big factor to me. I still want to have the enjoyability of doing it all and for my life in general. And so I'll have a couple, for each race, I'll have a couple moments and times where I spike my intensity, and then I'll back off for a week or 2 weeks, and I'll lose some fitness in that process, but I'll also gain some fitness and gain some rest on the way back up. So that's really important. You want to make sure that, yeah, you're taking off, but you're also gaining at the same time, because you got to rest in order to let your body accumulate all of that you've done to it. And so if you're not doing that, you're just setting yourself up to be super tired all the time and feel flat. And what I've found is that the running fitness usually takes quite a long time to come into peak form throughout the season, and so it's usually going to take like 3 months. For me, it's going to take 3 months of like really going after the run training, and so the same is probably going to be true for the bike. Definitely going to be longer on the run as well, or on the swim. And so, yeah, I think that's a good season at a glance look. Just kind of talking about, what the plan is, what some goals are. Personally for me, 2024, I talked about this in my last video, in the 5 years on YouTube video, but 2024 is going to be, I'm out of college, and I got a lot of free time, so yeah, I work, yeah, I got some responsibilities, but this is now for me when I get really excited about the future and right now, and just doing things that I enjoy, and just trying to get better, all around, and going to go see things and enjoying life, and that's part of, this is exercising, and this is, running and biking and swimming for me. It's enjoying life, and it's a part of just like, it's the enjoyment of getting better and all that comes with that, and yes, the process, you were thinking it. So yeah, that's that for now, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna keep doing things like this because I think it's more enjoyable, and yeah, thanks for watching.